Hey, hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hi. Oh my goodness, though. The chances of it crashing. Like, sheesh. I'm just happy it crashed before I started at Silver Ash. Like, that was rude. That was so incredibly rude. Wah! Just wah! I know I'm gonna do some interludes, though, for FGO every so often. But yeah, at least there's more progress for Arknights. And then also Girls Frontline too. I gotta finish that event that's currently out. And once the other Corpusant event gets added onto the archives, Corpusant time. Man, I can't believe I missed Corpusant. Like, that was sad, but I'm just glad it's gonna eventually be added in like a month or so. No fear, no pain. Sobs. But now for Silver Ash. Basic info, codename Silver Ash, gender male, combat experience 4 years. Wow, 4 years compared to all the others so far today. Place of birth, Kjerag. Date of birth, February 15. Race, feline. Height, 192 centimeters. Infection status, medical tests have confirmed that no infection is present. Physical exam, physical strength standard. Mobility standard. Physical resilience standard. Tactical acumen, outstanding. Combat skill, excellent. Origini March simulation, standard. Profile. Silver Ash is a Kjerag warlord, chairman of the Carlin Trade Company, and is currently chief of the Silver Ash family. He has unique views on economics, trade and international politics, diplomacy, and strategic planning. He provides a strategic support for Rhodes Island operations. In view of the fact that his true purposes are known and that he doesn't have the most cooperative attitude, it is advised that we maintain a conservative attitude in order to minimize risks when working with him. Clinical analysis. Imaging tests show clear normal outlines of internal organs, and no abnormal shadows have been detected. Originium granules have not been detected in the circulatory system, and there is no sign of infection. At this time, this operator can be confirmed to be uninfected. Cell originium infusion rate, 0%. Operator shows no signs of infection at this time. Blood crystal density, 0.12. Subject's values are normal, and there's no need for further investigation. Huh? Kjerag's nobles like to come to Rhodes Island for medical examinations too? Next time, please inform him. If you have no pending procedures, please do not disturb the medical staff. If you have, then please wait at the reception for the doctor to receive you. I'm simply not prepared to deal with someone so calm and collected. Medic Operator Warfarin. Archive File 1. If Carlin Trade Co. Ltd. is a state-owned enterprise engaged in foreign trade, it is located in the religious country of Kjerag, also known as the Snow Realm. Because of its terrain, Kjerag rarely suffers natural catastrophes or invasions. This has meant that the people of Kjerag have not needed to rely on nomadic cities to live and work. Of course, the sea terrain has also slowed Kjerag's development considerably. The name of the Carlin Trade Company is probably derived from the name of the holy mountain the believers of Kjerag worship. The trade company run by Silver Ash is the only window to the outside world for the insular and conservative nation of Kjerag. At the same time, this company has unavoidably changed the country. It'd be wise for Rhodes Island to research Silver Ash's record, given this level of power and vision. Archive File 2. As a lover of the literature and art, a committed hunter and a collector, and an expert in traditional Kjerag swordsmanship, Silver Ash has traces of a traditional noble upbringing. That said, Silver Ash's thinking and conduct run counter to tradition, and they're full of the progressive complexity and the intensity of modern education. As such, Silver Ash, chairman of the Carlin Trade Co. Ltd., is a controversial figure at Rhodes Island. Whatever the case, the other operators have come to consensus. Silver Ash is not an operator who can be easily dispatched or controlled. Yet he lives in my team rent-free. He just goes out and out and out. Silver Ash and his employees work very closely with Rhodes Island, and there's no hierarchical relationship between them. Whether it is strategic planning or tactical command, many operators find Silver Ash's prowess convincing. However, the more skeptical operators familiar with political conspiracy and such machinations are wary of Silver Ash's intentions. Although Silver Ash truly cares about his younger sister, Cliffheart, who's being treated at Rhodes Island, he trusts Rhodes Island is no more than Rhodes Island trusts him. Perhaps, as the rumor says, What is really of interest to Silver Ash is the value of Rhodes Island Pharmaceuticals itself, as well as a doctor he regards as a competent rival. Dr. Kelsey is opposed to trying to make any further contact with Silver Ash, though the doctor may have other ideas. Archive File 3. According to rumor, Silver Ash's parents died in a so-called accident when he was a child. Despite the ruling, evidence at the scene pointed to foul play by political enemies of the Silver Ash clan. Perhaps, because of the rapid decline of the Silver Ash family, this matter was left unsettled. Naturally, the incident had a huge effect on young Silver Ash's life. But as Silver Ash was a scion of a wealthy family and not a weakling by any means, he never sank into despair, and even kept raising his two younger sisters until they were old enough to take care of themselves. Thereafter, Silver Ash left Kjerag and headed to Victoria to receive a modern education. And let the Silver Ash family's political enemies divide up their legacy amongst themselves. The Tri-Clan Council was 3 houses in name only. This state of affairs lasted until Silver Ash returned back to Kjerag. Upon his homecoming, the young master took upon himself the weighty responsibility of rebuilding his clan. Now, according to Cliffhart's testimony, the Silver Ash who had returned was no longer the gentle and precocious youngster he used to be, who would grit his teeth and bear all that the world threw at him. Thereafter, the Carlin Trade Company quickly rose to seize a monopoly in a large number of modern industries that had previously been banned in Kjerag. He exported goods and raw materials to other countries and imported modern industrial products. In doing so, he accumulated a vast amount of wealth in a very short time, and the success of his company restored the Silver Ash family name to its position in the council. In what may have been a series of plays by rival clans, Silver Ash's 2 younger sisters each suffered a turn of fortune that would have a huge impact on the Silver Ash family. Promenix was christened a Carlin Saintess in a religious ritual, and Cliffhart was infected with erypathy. Rhodes Island tends to believe that these were acts of political opposition, but Cliffhart thinks that these events merely once again catalyzed Silver Ash's resolve. Now, no one knows what Silver Ash will do, just as no one knows the purpose behind his collaboration with Rhodes Island. It was all by chance for the sisters. I'm pretty sure Char chose Promenix, and Cliffhart, well, she got injured while she was hiking, so... Hello. Nah, it's not really... I don't think it's a hassle. It's fun going to stories. Like, to me, the benefit of going to stories multiple times is, like, ooh. Like, here's a thing I didn't notice before. Or, aw yeah, my favorite part, like the one NPC with multiple sunglasses. I love that dude. He is funny. The most entertaining NPC there is. Now, no one knows what Silver Ash will do, just as no one knows the purpose behind his collaboration with Rhodes Island. Do I have enough for Silver Ash, Alter? That just depends on my luck. If I'm lucky enough, yes. If I'm unlucky enough, well, I guess I'll bring out the wallet. Cries. Then again, I gotta look at what other banners are coming out, because maybe if he's not nice to me, I can wait. He could spook me, while others... Like, oh no. When's the next limited banner? That's what I'm most worried about. Archive File 4, Classified Log. I am opposed to the dealings between Rhodes Island and the Carlin Trade Company. No, I have not found any hints of anything sinister, nor do I have any proof of anything untoward. Ooh, 100 pulls. Super good luck. Okay, next limited is in July. Oh, not bad. So I can just use whatever I have and not have to worry. I just want everyone to think this through carefully. What is it that Kjerag needs right now? The 3-house parliament of Kjerag is in political crisis. The conflict between the Kjerag conservative faction and the reformist party have gotten more and more intense. On the surface, the Carlin Trade Company is only concerned with foreign trade. However, its true owner is none other than Encioda Silver Ash, head of the Silver Ash family and opponent of the 2 conservative houses in the country's parliament. You may know him as Silver Ash, brother of the Rhodes Island operator Cliffhart. I'm convinced that the Carlin Trade Company doesn't pay a cent to the government of Kjerag. It isn't a state-owned enterprise. Its operations and business are controlled entirely by Silver Ash himself. Modern military equipment has passed from Raytheon's hands through the Carlin Trade Company's channels and into Kjerag. The conservative faction doesn't even have any means of tracing the whereabouts of the goods. The trade route has already been moved to the foot of the Holy Mountain Carlon. The Vinebead Court has already used Silver Ash's sister, Saint Pramanix, as leverage to try to get the Silver Ash family to leave the three-house parliament and hand over control of the valley and mining sites. The troops the Carlin Trade Company sent to the training camps have already returned from Arknights County in Victoria. Where are they now? The conservative Kjerag guards don't have any idea. Mystery. Oh man, having April Fool's kids be great. So what does Kjerag need the most right now? We're reaching a boiling point here. What do they need? Pressure from outside. Just a little bit of pressure from the outside. Just the tiniest little push. The avalanche will bury all of Kjerag, including all of its conspiracies, and all the matters of the past. I admit that perhaps the Carlin Trade Company isn't hiding anything dangerous. Even so, should we really put ourselves in danger just because Cliffheart received a secret letter? At the very least, Rhodes Island as a whole should not assume this magnitude of risk. Doberman, at the meeting 12 days before the incident at the mountain. Promotion record, promotion materials. I don't think the stories of everyone's heard are so terrible. Everyone's life has a trajectory that wobbles as the world turns. It's normal. Therefore, I don't want anyone to think of Mr. Silver Ash as a threat. To survive in this land, you need to have trust and cooperation, since Mr. Silver Ash now regards the Doctor and Rhodes Island as partners, even if Rhodes Island doesn't want to rely too much on the Carlin Trade Company's help, because it is skeptical of Mr. Silver Ash. We should not regard him as an enemy. If you regard someone as an enemy, then subconsciously, you would treat them like one. The two sides will drift apart, and even if they could have become friends, they will become enemies. I know what Dr. Kelsey said about hidden enemies. I just feel that whether or not Silver Ash will really become our enemy depends on the relationship between the Doctor and Mr. Silver Ash, and not on the abilities, strength, or behavior of Mr. Silver Ash alone. Let the Doctor take care of it, as Mr. Silver Ash's designated handler. And that's that. The Doctor will handle the situation. Amiya. Ah, his handler. More like where's Silver Ash's labor? That freaking vacation. Yeah, vacation, alright. Such a wonderful vacation where we had to do some work. Like, gosh darn it. Well, Enceladus truly loves his family. He's working hard for them. He loves his land. He's working hard for it. Though he does want to modernize everything, which I don't think is necessarily bad. Depending on the way he goes about it, like, I think he's doing things nicely. Like, he's helping out the people with all the avalanches. He wants to make sure that they can have whatever they might need, including medicine. So I think he's pretty fine. Maybe a bit misunderstood. Though at the same time, sir, just sir, you need to be good and actually go home earlier. Like, gosh darn it, I feel so bad for little sister Cliffheart. How she just waits for him and waits for him and waits for him. And letting Matterhorn's food go to waste. Shame on you, Silver Ash, for that part. And yeah, Kjerag is just faithful to their culture, nothing wrong with that as well. Though gosh darn it, sir. The operator records. Unpredictable, a rare-to-see counterpart, a hard-to-meet opponent. Click. So you're saying the employees of the newly established branch of Carlin Trade did not receive the first batch of pharmaceuticals we sent them?
Correct. Also, our people found this in a nearby black market.
This is one of the analgesics we manufacture. You've cross-checked the serial number?
Mm-hmm. I specifically checked with the logistics department. It's the very same batch we sent. In short, there's no need for any guessing games. Without a doubt, someone pawned off our medicine. We didn't originally plan on involving you or the doctor. After all, companies doing stuff like this isn't exactly uncommon. But we have relatively robust procedures in place to deal with it. But this time, we're dealing with one of Carlin Trade's branch offices, so we thought it'd be best to consult the two of you first.
I understand. Clifford is one of our operators now, and we do a substantial amount of business with them. Regardless of the perspectives we're coming from, this matter must be handled carefully. The core issue is this: was this an arbitrary decision from the other party's middle management, or did it have the tacit approval of the higher-ups? Medic, you're witness to the signing of the contract with Mr. Silverash. What do you think? It's hard to say. We maintain business with ties with Carlin Trade for months now. There was nothing out of place with this particular large batch order either. He came to us wanting to buy medicine, and we agreed. Simple as that. But we know nothing about how he actually views the infected, and from the perspective of so-called business logic, he did not in fact purchase this medicine from us with money. It belongs to him now, and what he decides to do with it is up to him. As for us though, this is not something we can simply write off as a business practice. Doctor, how do you view the situation?
Silverash? Who's that? What kind of person is Silverash? Silverash, what a unique surname. What kind of person is he?
Oh, I totally forgot. You weren't there at the time. Excuse me. You've become so reliable lately that I've started to subconsciously assume that you already know everything. Mr. Silverash's full name is Enciota Silverash. He's the president of Carlin Trade and one of our major clients. It seems he's always hoped to purchase a degree of personal protection for his infected employees, as well as treatment for his younger sister who was infected with uropathy. After contacting several pharmaceutical companies, he finally found us. That's right, he was very firm about this, though cautious as well. After a lengthy negotiation, he finally placed a large order with us. He purchased a health insurance contract that covers all of his employees, as well as a supply of analgesics for each branch.
Yo, he's a good employer. That's nice, that's very good.
Health insurance for all employees, that's really good. Because these analgesics are only effective at the disease's onset, we keep separate statistics on the amount delivered to each branch. This is to ensure that every employee has a quarterly supply of them, as well as to allow the company to hold reserves. Those are his demands. To be honest, it was the first time I've seen an employer set aside this much money for infected employees. As for the kind of person the president is, 1 year ago, you're going to order this much as once?
That's right. You've proven to me that your analgesics work. And I mean to purchase a dose for each and every infected in my employment. As such, I hope your company will be able to offer me a discount.
Well, the size of this order is massive compared to anything else Rhodes Island has ever gotten. As a matter of principle, it's understandable that you want a discount. However, the raw materials used to produce these drugs are also very expensive. In fact, the price of one dose of analgesic is not much higher than the cost.
If you lack the authority to make this decision, then you can ask the head of your company, Miss Amiya, to speak with me.
No, I can make this decision. What I want to say is, Rhodes Island makes drugs to help the infected. I hope you can ensure that they're successfully delivered to those who need them.
Medic, ma'am, your company seems to have a custom of calling each other by code names, so I'd like to follow suit. Mind if I borrow you after this?
Huh? Where are we? Ooh, Gnosis' file and operator records are important. Good to know. Ooh, their childhood. Okay, yeah, that is very good.
A branch office I established in the city. President, what brings you here? I want to meet with the infected employees here. Make the arrangements.
That day, I was able to witness Mr. Silverash personally distributing the analgesics to the infected. Then, our partnership deepened. He even sent his little sister to us for treatment. The very same Clifford who is now one of our operators. He sounds nothing like those bosses who make it obvious that they don't want to spend a single cent paying for medicine for their infected employees. Yeah, to be honest, even if what I saw was just a publicity stunt, there aren't many bosses in this world who'd even bother putting on a show like that. Leaning toward blame middle management then. I dare not say for sure. I couldn't get a good read on him. He gave me the impression of someone completely inscrutable. The more I started to trust him, the more the alarm bells in my head went off. We need to confirm his true beliefs. We need to be careful. We can't ignore Cliffheart's feelings. We need to confirm his true beliefs. I doubt he'd be all that forthcoming if we took this to him to negotiate directly. So what should we do, Doctor? I have an idea.
To the factory. Alright, morning's over. You have 1 hour lunch break. You have a 1 hour lunch break. Line up for your meals and keep it orderly.
Dang, a 1 hour lunch break? He is a good boss. My lunch break's only 45 minutes.
Phew, I managed to blend in just as the doctor requested. Now to take a look around. Brother, are you new here? Ah, yes. Then you come to the right place. Our company treats the infected pretty well. Yeah, I heard the same thing I wanted to see for myself. So in your experience, is it really all that's cracked up to be? Yeah, I actually used to work at a different factory. After I got sick, I was transferred here, which is specifically for infected employees. At first, I thought it'd be like the stuff you always hear about, about how ordinary people wouldn't last a week and the conditions infected workers had to deal with. But it turns out it was a lot better than I expected. Plus, President Silverash personally bought us orthopathy painkillers from some drug company. The manager says the person with the best monthly performance gets a dose.
Wait. The one with the best performance, huh? It is the management's fault.
Where else could you find a boss like that?
Manager? What are you doing, sir?
Listen up, President Silverash will be coming for an inspection in 2 days. You two are pretty quick thinkers, so I'll have you greet him. You already know how to behave, yes? Yeah, of course, he's always doing so much for us, we wouldn't dare ask for anything more. That's right, no way I'd find any other job as good as this one. So, humph here. These painkillers are for you. Thank you so much. And who received the medication? Everyone got some. As long as you understand. Alright, now out of my sight. Yes, please excuse us. Yes, we'll do just that. We won't bother you.
Psych!
Psst. What a disgrace. We took all the medicine ourselves, and now we have to lie to the president for him. What choice do we have? Would you report that to the president? No. Me neither. Who knows what he's like behind closed doors? We don't even know if he'd side with us. A boss who sides with the infected? Pull the other one. Still, it's true that we'll never find another gig as good as this place. Yeah, I feel bad for our brothers, but what else can we do? So what are you gonna do with the medicine? My wife ditched me after I got sick, leaving me alone with our daughter. I better keep it for myself. Blimey, you've got it rough too. And you? I'll hold on to it for now. Seems like it's only good for suppressing the pain when the disease flares up, but won't actually cure anything, so I'll save it for someone else in an emergency. Never figured you for the generous sort. We're all suffering here. I mean, it's not like you're some kind of sadist getting a kick out of it, right? But if you can't take care of yourself, don't even think about taking care of others. Doctor, you heard that through the communicator, right? Yeah, it's the same everywhere you go. Although in Victoria, some companies will continue employing the infected if they accidentally contract rapidly in the line of work. None of those jobs are much different from slavery. Some nobles like to prattle on about these arrangements as if it's some kind of Victorian largesse.
I mean, I'm already this far into it. Might as well go all the way for this record.
To put it bluntly, not many companies are willing to spend money on the infected, and those who exploit them will get away with a slap on the wrist at worst. However, judging from the few days I've spent undercover, this President Enciota seems like quite the capable guy. In just a few years, the Carlin Tree Company went from practically nothing to even having several branch offices in Victoria. Plus, if the treatment of the infected actually seems half decent, our contractual conditions aside, the way the company treats its infected is better than any I've seen before. No wonder they all seem to admire him here.
That only proves his management skills. He could still have scalped the drugs. That only proves his management skills.
That's true. Understood, Doctor. So you're saying we need conclusive evidence.
Where the drugs ended up.
Exactly. Long time no see, Mr. Diot. Mr. Layton, it certainly has been a while. How you been? Thanks to you, I've been able to eat well and sleep soundly, not a worry to be found. I'm glad to hear that. I'm about the thing I requested. No worries, the painkillers are on the box over there. Good, good. I expect nothing less from you, Mr. Diet. Isn't this batch a bit smaller than it's supposed to be? We're in off-season right now, so fewer infected are showing up for work. But as you know, our company is quite renowned among their kind. Consistency is key. I know. I'm not trying to hide anything from you. I kept them for myself, as usual. I'm not that cold-hearted. I mean, that cold-blooded. The infected do need to survive after all. Ah, you have a point. Tisk tisk. Leaders like you, who are still willing to look out for the infected, are rare to find these days.
Yeah, sure. Trying to look out for them. Definitely. And ooh, some bits about the founding myth of Kjerag trivia. Yes.
No, trust me, Mr. Layton. This will be the latest trend. One of civility. Those backwards Ursus savages only know how to hunt and kill the infected. How primitive. And even most of our Victorian colleagues only know how to squeeze them bone dry. How terribly uncivilized. The infected are not animals. They understand language, reward them appropriately, and they work even harder. This way, we can show kindness to the infected while also furthering our business. What could be more enlightened? You're exactly right. Praise to the civilized land of Victoria, and praise to the President Antiochus, who treats the infected with compassion. Praise to civility. Praise to civility. If I didn't have to worry about blowing my cover, I would seriously rush over and beat the shit out of those two slimy bastards.
Yeah, totally. Civility. Ooh, in the mythological era, according to the teachings of Kjeragian faith, Kjerag, the goddess of Kjerag, led her people to settle in the rugged mountains, free of catastrophes and conflicts. Kjerag accepted those homeless refugees across terror to settle in her embrace. And she promised her believers that she would create a piece of the land among the mountains with hot springs, abundant crops, and most importantly, blizzards that could freeze catastrophes. These settlements eventually became the earliest form of the Kjeragian civilizations, and priesthood serving Kjerag were the first theocratic political entity overseeing the Kjeragians. Ooh. I want to see the hot springs now, gosh darn it. Though I believe the blizzards that can freeze catastrophes. All the avalanches.
But at least this confirms that President Antiochus isn't personally involved. Humph, but they never expected to have each and every one of their hypocritical words captured on record. Praise the painkiller! Praise the painkiller! Phew, hold it in. I have to record all this.
I want to punch those guys too.
Doctor, this should be sufficient proof. I sent you a copy, but I wouldn't recommend listening to it too often if you enjoy sleeping at night.
I'll be fine, I'm used to it. Scumbags, the whole lot of them.
So the next step is to tell President Antiochus about everything that's going on. What's the plan?
He's coming for inspection in 2 days. Stinky.
Oh, did you hear? Apparently the president arrived in the city yesterday. Really? Word is he's planning to look around the factory. Yeah, that's right. Wonderful! I've always wanted to meet the guy who started this company. So you... Arg! What's wrong? Help, my repeti's acting up. What? Shh, if this guy blows up, I'm done for too. In other words, put on a show and make sure word reaches the whole city.
Yeah, who needs catastrophes when I am the catastrophe? But it's not my style.
President, this is our statement from our last quarter. Please take a look. Afterward, if you wish to take a look around the facilities, I specifically invited a few representatives from both of our infected and ordinary employees to give you a tour. Surely, they'll be able to tell you more of the ins and outs of working here than I can. Hello, Mr. President. Good day, Mr. President. How many times have you rehearsed this? Have you finished preparing what you want me to see? Diet, I don't particularly care what you're trying to hide from me. All I care about are the results. A word of advice though, if you plan on deceiving someone, don't make it so obvious. Yes, sir. Did you become infected while working for our company? I did, Mr. President. I joined after hearing that the infected are treated well here. What do you think of Carlin trade? I think I've definitely been treated well here. I agree. More to the point. Out of the way! What's the commotion? Let me through. If I remember correctly, you're one of the new hires. What exactly do you think you're doing? Can't you see the president is here? Are you President Otis? Help me, there's something wrong with my body. I need medicine. The medicine should have already been handed out. What? I didn't get anything. You want me to pretend that I'm suffering from an acute episode of ripathy in front of President Silverash?
That way, none of our people will be present. With no outsiders, we'll see his honest reaction.
I see. So that's how we'll find out how he truly sees the infected. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Diet, bring out the medicine. Right away. You're not afraid of me? You're my employee. Why would I be afraid of you? To think that the president would treat an infected so kindly, even in person, I've never met anyone like him. As long as you're with Carlin Trade, you're all my employees, infected or not, it makes no difference to me. More importantly, shouldn't the analgesic have already been distributed to him? That, haha, right. It's because he's a new hire. It wasn't his turn yet. Is that the best lie you could come up with? Each batch has extras rationed, and precisely for the situation. President Diet, he didn't distribute medicine to the employees at all. Here, I have proof. Oh.
The infected employee struggled to produce a pen-like device from his clothing and gave it a light tap. From it flowed the conversation between Diet and Layton at the bar.
What did you... Diet, you bastard! President and General Manager Diet did not distribute the painkillers to the infected employees at all. What's worse, he deceived everyone saying that painkillers would only be given to the best performers. You... Calm down. After seeing how kindly the president treated an infected, I can't keep quiet anymore. Not only that, he violated the employee handbook by squeezing our brakes and making us work non-stop. He may not have gone overboard to keep you from finding out, but he's definitely guilty. Just ask anyone here. Shh. He's telling the truth, President. Diet acts all high and mighty, just like he's our savior, humiliating us and forcing us to serve him. He's a rotten bastard through and through. How dare you? My friend here still needs some medication for his daughter, so use my dose, President. I understand. I appreciate your kindness. However, this employee's orthopathy symptoms are quite dangerous. I'll handle the situation myself, just in case. But then you'll be exposing yourself to danger. Trust me. All right, I trust you. Me too. I'll never forget what happened today. Go, get away from here. The further the better. So this is Ensioda Silverash. What an incredible man. President. Don't be nervous, Doyot. As a manager, you should understand which side to let your subordinates see, and which side you should stay hidden. Whether through currying favor or issuing threats, you should have ensured that your collaborators would never betray you. It seems whatever threats you gave these two are merely superficial. You're not mad at me? Why would I be mad? Although you violated the rules I set, you did produce results. Why should I be mad? As for where the analgesics ended up, I could very well overlook that. You could consider them a reward to you. Mr. President, did you lie to us? Ha. Ha ha ha. As expected, Mr. President. That's right. You infected are going to die sooner or later anyway, so what difference does a little bit of medicine make? And as a noble, it is sometimes necessary to show the infected their place. That's the only way they'll know what it really means to be a noble. I knew you signed that contract with Rhode Island just for show to establish your image in front of the other nobles. I'll admit my mistakes. If you're willing to forgive me, I'll be glad to give you half of the profits from reselling the medicine. Naturally, no one will ever know. Half? 70%. No, 80. I need to make a living too, President. Oh, I couldn't care less about the money, though. I'm more keen on meeting whoever you've been cutting this deal with. I'm interested in learning to make better use of Rhode Island's medicine. Is that what this is about? No problem. I can arrange some contacts for you. Just tell them I sent you. Is there anyone from any other branches involved? Well, you're my first business partner in this particular matter. Consider the implications of that. Aha, silly me! How could I be so forgetful? I've it all written down right here in my notes. If you're planning to get your foot in the door, then I do hope that you'll bring me along, hehe. And you're seeing all this and right in front of me. You're not afraid I'll spread the word? Spread the word? Did you seriously expect to walk out of here alive? The loss of a single employee is nothing to a company this large. You won't get away with this! The infected can use arts without the assistance of an arts unit. Your contagiousness is a dangerous uncertainty. After death, it would trigger a secondary outbreak, endangering the surrounding environment and its people. You...
And Siotis walks up to the employee, reaches for his chest to fish out a terminal that had never stopped transmitting, and speaks to the person on the other end.
What I want to know is this. Why do you think you people deserve to be treated well?
Enough is enough. The infected expect nothing. That's the goal we're striving for.
When you lack a clear path to the end goal, all your effort is nothing but deceit, both of yourself and others. But I'm not here today to haphazardly give out assessments of your unrealistic goals, because you showed up in front of me. To put it simply, is this information enough to demonstrate the sincerity of Carlin trade?
Good enough.
Excellent. Huh? President? Thank you for the intel, Diet. You successfully restored Carlin Trade's reputation in the eye of Rhodes Island. Could this man be from Rhodes Island? You should have realized that sooner. And now, unfortunately, you're fired. You were lying to me this whole time?
I still wish you could bonk Diet.
But why? Do you really empathize with these filthy infected? You're not worthy of having that conversation with me. But did you say you acknowledged my results? All I said was that you produced results. But did you seriously think that those results would satisfy me? They did not. Extraordinary means should produce extraordinary outcomes. Even utilizing extraordinary means, the results you showed me are something anyone could muster. What possessed you to think that they would satisfy me?
Diet, the branch officer manager, slumped to the ground limply like a pile of mud. Toss him in the trash.
Look, it's the president! I went to Rhodes Island to purchase medication and an insurance package for all of you, to ensure the health and safety of all my infected employees. However, due to the negligence of our management as well as the local manager, this medicine was not properly delivered to you. For this, I deeply apologize. It isn't your fault. It's all Diet's fault. Yes, Diet has already been fired, and a new manager will be selected from among you. I hope that this will help ensure better conditions for you to continue with your work. Huh? What? That's incredible! Long live the president! In particular, there are two people here I'd like to thank. Both are special investigators from Rhodes Island. Thanks to their bravery, I was able to discover that what Diet had been hiding from me. Isn't that the new guy? So they're from the company that makes our medicine? They're willing to do all that for our sakes?
That's our duty at Rhodes Island. You can always trust in Rhodes Island. The lives of the infected are just as precious. That's our duty at Rhodes Island.
There are many who don't understand why I would purchase medication. This lack of understanding eventually gave rise to the violations of the company policy. In order to prevent the situation from occurring again, I negotiated with Rhodes Island to send an undercover team to secretly surveil this branch office. The intent was to sniff out people like Diet, who would harm both our company's operations as well as Rhodes Island's image. In return, Rhodes Island is willing to deepen its cooperation with Carlin Trade and further reduce the price of medication. Isn't that right, Doctor?
That's exactly right. What kind of discount are we gonna give him now? Gosh darn it.
Huh? Did you really arrange all that, Doctor? As a follow-up, Rhodes Island is willing to provide on-site medical examinations for all employees on the job free of cost.
Everyone, please line up here so we can pass out the analgesics. When did you find out?
What a vapid question. I should be the one asking you. Did you really plan on deceiving me, Doctor of Rhodes Island?
No.
You at least considered the possibility that I would let my guard down upon seeing that infected. Because for you, your objective had already been accomplished by that point. Regardless of how it unfolded afterward, you'd never have a losing hand, not a bad plan.
You flatter me. I'm not so sure about that. You flatter me.
It is no secret that Rhodes Island suddenly gained a masterful strategist, a leader capable of pulling together formidable forces and commanding the battlefield. Before I met you, I never expected someone like that to personally show up at my company and stage a farce right in front of me.
You seem to think highly of Rhodes Island. Am I that famous?
Your name has come up in conversation with my sister and my men more than once. There's no way I wouldn't know of your existence. So, Doctor, what I want to know is, did my answer satisfy you?
It did. It did not. It did.
So you say, but your gaze clearly tells me that it did not. Your acting wasn't terrible, so I'll take it as your way of asking me to leave it at this for now. Am I wrong? That said, this has also raised my suspicions. You were without a doubt engaged in the theater, albeit one without backgrounds or props. It lacked anything to invoke emotions in the viewer. You even prepared a terribly harrowing ending, knowing that all too well. Tell me, what would have happened if I failed to meet your expectations?
You would have lost a partner, that's all.
In a farce, an overly realistic ending may make it seem like the writers are splitting hairs, unless the essence of the farce is sufficiently important to you, the playwright. And in this case, it would be my views on the infected. Just how important is this question for you, Doctor?
Very. I choose my partners carefully. Very.
Even though the medic lass asked me to personally deliver the medication to my employees, I didn't particularly view that as one of your main tenets. After this though, perhaps I'll have to somewhat revise my way of thinking. It's just that I've seen all manner of idealists go on at great length about more or less everything under the sun, but not once have I heard of one of them bring up the word infected. Do you understand what that means, Doctor? It means that unless you're a bunch of lunatics, then... Where are you? It's time to go. I'll be right there. Looks like our little chat must come to an end. I can't answer your question just yet, Doctor. But if you know how to play chess, then I look forward to learning from you when I visit Rhodes Island in the future.
Yes, a game of chess. What happened?
Nothing much, just a little detour.
You look like someone who's gone through a lot more than just a little detour.
Did you know that Rhodes Island's new leader is an amnesiac?
Huh.
Did you hit your head somewhere? They seem to have won over many operators since they're in a very short period of time, and have also set the company on a clear trajectory, while having amnesia. Weird, but what does that have to do with you? I don't know yet. You don't know yet? I don't know yet.
What a way for that to end. Do you know? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Truly unpredictable. Unbreakable ice. Eternity does not melt. Eternity does not forsake. Eternity is eternal after all.
Doctor, no doubt you already know that the Silver Ash clan's exploration of the outside world began with my ancestors, namely my grandfather. As recounted in Kjerag folklore, he once went on an expedition with an adventurer, eventually returning with the wealth of silver and gold. While he did in fact spend over 10 years away with an adventurer, in truth, he returned with nothing of value, only a few bits of literature, some tools that were considered advanced at the time, and blueprints. These trinkets would go on to greatly influence my father, Olafur, who became the first person of Kjerag to study abroad. He met my mother Elizabeth while studying in Victoria, where he also made connections among the nobility. It was then that Viscount Walden became friends with my father. When I stayed at the same city on my own trip abroad, I received some assistance from the Viscount. I also met his children, Carl and Kate. Carl was my age and full of pride. While he saw me as a rival in all things, he was far from a bad person. However, I had the misfortune to learn that he was attacked and killed by infected some time after we parted. After his death, Viscount Walden became more and more hateful towards the infected, drafting a number of restrictions targeting them.
I thought Victoria granted the infected rights. Yet you passed his request on to us.
Rest assured, Doctor, I shall personally ensure that Rhodes Island's reputation is upheld. Now, there's no need to be nervous. I've only received reports of your recent activities. I don't know what your plans actually are, but I surmise that connections with the powerful Viscount can only work in your favor. Regardless, Kate is a subject of concern at this time. She was kidnapped by infected. This is partially why the Viscount agreed to let me pass this on to you, despite his disgust towards the infected. You see, he worries that his own actions may have provoked this, and as such, he is willing to employ any means necessary.
Dude. Well, time to rescue the VIP Kate. The daughter of the Viscount of County Sykes was kidnapped by a group of infected. They demand a ransom of £100,000 within 20 days, or they will kill the hostage. Viscount Walden hopes that we'll be able to find and rescue his daughter.
He is well known among the nobles of Western Victoria for having his eldest son was slain by the infected a few years ago, as well for the strict policies he's enforced on them since. The laws and regulations the infected are subject to in Sykes are far more stringent than any other county. More importantly, Walden's surname is Castor.
Castor.
The Castor family is very influential in Western Victoria, and if we can form connections with them, it may save us a lot of trouble down the road. But therein lies the problem. Naturally, a noble so hostile to the infected would not normally entrust his commission to us directly, and in fact, it was passed on through an intermediary.
Harold, can we bonk your cousin?
The intermediary's name is Ensiotis.
Don't look at me. Could it be a coincidence? He must be expecting something.
I'm inclined to agree. Rhode Island has been making moves across the nomadic cities of Western Victoria to find places we can stop over at. Considering his renown among Victorian nobility and from his time studying abroad, it's hardly surprising that he would have noticed our movements. If anything, though, he's the one with more to lose from this interaction. Yet he is the one who reached out to us. As such, I'm forced to understand this as a sign of his trust in you. I can't think of another explanation.
Trust. Shrug. Stop teasing me.
Trust. Your torn Kjerag earned his trust, did it not? Naturally, I do not intend to pry into your relationships, but I will simply remind you, as our cooperation with Carlin Trade is ongoing, we must be careful how we handle our relationship with Ensiotis. Admittedly, your trip to Kjerag has brought about some unexpected benefits. But you should also understand that what we are about to do next is an exception, and I strongly recommend not getting tangled up with any Victoria-adjacent figures beyond a business capacity. It's extremely dangerous for both you and him.
Yeah. Doctor, I located the target. They're hiding in the forest in the outskirts of the city. Good work. Hardly. All it took was a little asking around and some tracking in the slums. But damn, the city really treats its infected terribly. They're all miserable here. By the look of it, the noble girl's kidnapping was carried out by the only relatively large group of infected in the city. The security was pretty tight for amateurs, so I took some pictures of the surroundings first. These are the pictures taken from around their holdout point. And this is the picture I got of their boss. What's the matter?
I see, so that's what's going on, is it? Doctor, I have a rather presumptuous request. Boss, we're running short on food. If push comes to shove, butcher sand and let our brothers eat meat.
Not sand!
How can we do that? Isn't she the burden beast you raised yourself? People are starving to death, and you're worried about some animal? Huh. Hang in there just a little longer. After we get the money, we'll change our identities and start a new life in another city. I know.
Brother, perhaps I should head back home in secret first?
Are you stupid? How do you even expect to get back without any skills? Just stay put like a good little hostage. And what did I tell you about getting too close to us? Are you trying to catch our empathy? Scram!
Ugh. I think she can still fit. Hopefully.
Who are you people? Easy now. I'm here to speak to your leader. Well, you're not welcome here. Get out. Get out now, or you're leaving in a body bag.
Ensiotis.
You're not going to invite us in, Carl.
Hey, Carl.
Stand down. Let them through. But you can't beat them. Rest assured, I didn't bring any weapons or bodyguards. So what brings Ensiotis, the illustrious president of Carlin Trade, to our humble abode? As I recall, the last I saw you was at the ball 8 years ago. How prideful you were back then, as the eldest son of Viscount Walden. Yet everyone's eyes were on you the moment you stepped out. Damn and blast. Listen up, Ensiotis. I have no interest in waxing lyrical about my days as a noble. I've long since quit the game. The only thing I care about right now is how you found this place. You and that enigmatic hood person next to you. What are you trying to do with just the two of you? I've heard that you died during an infected riot. Seems the situation was more complicated than that. You bloody daft or something? Just a little curious.
If Father asks you to come, then please turn back. I will not be going with you.
I assume you and Carl planned this kidnapping together, Kate. And if I'm not mistaken, you must have been the one to come up with the idea.
Yes, you're right. Carl's had a terrible time all these years since he became infected. I've been trying to aid him and his friends in secret, but there's only so much I can do alone.
So you offered to let your brother kidnap you in order to collect a ransom from your father. Viscount Walden loves you dearly and will surely be devastated.
I know. I don't want to make father sad either, but I just can't bear to see Carl suffer so.
Shut your mouth, Kate.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought it up.
In any case, Ensiotis, if you're here as the old man's mouthpiece, I recommend you leave now. And if you plan on taking Kate with you, you have to ask my brothers what they think of that. Calm down, you two. Although I did come at your father's request, I stand before you as myself. And next to me is my friend, Doctor. Will suffice. I'm here to help you. Help, ha. Help charity handouts. Why don't you just use your favorite word? What was it again? Ah, yes. A deal. You're free to take it however you like. In your eyes, I might as well still be that blowhard of a noble who was always showing off. Maybe if I were still that same man, I would have some chips to wager with you. But now I have nothing. You want to make a deal? What would you offer me? And what could I possibly give you? That all depends on how this conversation goes. First of all, I can assure you that Viscount Walden will never know anything that happens here. Ha. I can't remember the last time I had a serious talk with anyone other than Kate. Even if it's coming from you of all people, I can't help but to think back to the old days. At least, let me thank you for showing me respect in your own way. Not that I feel at all respected. But I knew you couldn't help me the moment you waltzed in here, grand as anything, like the world was already in your hands. You want to know why I'm alive? How my quarrel with the old man got to this point? Fine, I'll tell you. You completely stole the spotlight in that ball, and you wouldn't believe how much that upset me. So I left the venue early that night, thinking that as long as you were in Sykes, I'd rather be anywhere but there with you. And while my head was lost in the clouds, I accidentally ran over a woman. Dude! Now, I'm no saint, but I wouldn't just do a hit and run, so I took her to the hospital. But when we got there, I found out she was actually infected, so no one would treat her. The most hilarious part, though, that the doctors were also eager to help me, the Viscount's son, right up until they saw the originium crystals on her skin, and recoiled in horror. I just couldn't understand at the time. I honestly could not wrap my head around it. I knew that having repathy was bad, but I never expected it to be that bad.
Wait, this interaction has an official comic. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I guess that was the Kjerag official comic.
So my temper flared up and I brought her back home, made her personal family Dr. C to her. Naturally, the old man was furious when he found out, but I pushed back against him. This all sounds vaguely familiar, but I was busy getting ready to move on to the next city at the time. That's right, you bastard. You decided just to up and leave after making such a big splash. I don't even want to know how many girls' hearts you took with you.
Of all the things to add to that, how many girls did you rizz up, huh?
Looking back though, I have no idea what came over me back then. It's not like I wasn't scared of Earpathy, but I couldn't see what about it made everyone shit their pants like that. But now I understand how terrifying it truly is. Some patients will straight up explode when they die. Some don't, but their deaths are still very painful. Heh, better watch yourselves. Maybe I'll blow up too and take both of you out with me.
Dude. And then what? That's fairly rare actually. Dude.
Hey Hood, your reaction's pretty different from Mr. Cool here. You infected too?
A lot of my friends are infected. I can treat you.
No wonder you seem so comfortable with all this. If you're that bored, why don't you go and hang out with my brothers? This is none of your business. In any case, the old man wouldn't let the lady stay in his house, so I had her convalesce in my own courtyard. For the longest time, she thought I was planning to do something to her, but it was much simpler than that. I just wanted her to get better. I was a complete idiot at the time. I'd push back against anyone that tried to go against me, no matter the reason. The old man wanted to kick her out, so I insisted on keeping her. She thought she'd be a burden on me, so I wanted to look after her even more. You fell in love. Damn right I did. It's a story as old as time. A noble and a commoner fall in love, but the family will never approve. Finally, father and son turned against each other. Only difference is, the commoner was infected, and the father had a hand in tormenting her to death, so the noble infected himself as revenge against his father.
Wow! The freaking dad. It's all his fault.
I see. So that's the basis of both your both your death as well as Viscount Walden's hatred for the infected. Naturally, his son with a bright future fell in love with an infected and turned against him, unwilling to admit his own failures. Who else could he blame but the infected? And I was already the infected he hated the most. The news of my death wasn't a lie, Ensiotis. The man named Carl Castor died 7 years ago. Look, you have the expression on your face again. What do you think is going to happen, even if I do get the ransom? I share the money with my brothers, then we move on to another city and live out the rest of our lives in peace. No, we'll still be turned away at every door simply because we're infected. We'll still be looked down on. We'll still have stones thrown at us. We'll still be driven to suffer in the slums. Even if we want to work, nobody would take us in. The only thing left for us would be to find a cozy little alley to die in. Of course, the money wouldn't hurt. A few of us have already starved to death. But how much would that money actually be worth? After years of groveling, struggling to survive with my infected brothers, I finally understand. The infected cannot survive. I've heard of a group called Reunion that was uniting the infected, and of an organization called Rhodes Island trying to save our lives. Who knows when their help will ever reach us?
Hi, Rhodes Island here.
It may not happen in my lifetime, but at the very least, they have the ability to help because they know how hard it is for us to even survive. But you know nothing.
Carl.
So you might as well kill me right now, bring Kate back to the old man, claim his reward. Or just turn back. You can even tell him everything if you want. What difference does it make? Point is, there's nothing you can do for me.
Hey, Carl. Did you know that one of the silver ashes is also infected?
It seems I've made something of a fool of myself. Let's go, Doctor.
Dot.
Doctor, I have a question. Did I act out of line when dealing with Carl?
No, be the same as usual.
In other words, my usual performance didn't work in front of him. That's Carl. He's headed out alone, in the direction of the city.
Follow him. The look in your face, follow him. What you doing, Carl?
I'm begging you, my sister seriously needs an anti-infection device. This is all the money I've got, but I assure you, give me a few days and I'll come up with the rest. Let me take out an IOU on this, and I swear I'll pay you back double. Shoo, away with you. Stop coming here to beg every day. It's pissing me off. Like, how I believe that you can get that kind of money in a few days. That's what every debt-ridden deadbeat says. What's to say that you won't just take the blasted thing and I never see you again? Besides, Lord Walden has decreed that we aren't allowed to sell anything to the infected within the city. But I can't get my hands on anything like that in the slums. I've looked all over to find you. Everyone speaks of how kind you are, so can't you see how desperate I am? Can't you help me just this once? This is everything I have on me. Whatever you want, just take it. Or maybe I can earn my keep. I swear, I won't let anyone find out that I'm infected. Please, I'm begging you, just this once. Fine, enough of that. How could you possibly have anything of value on you? Come in, keep boiling like that, and you might even attract the guards. Thank you so much. And get off your knees already. You're gonna dirty up my floor.
We'll need a spare protective suit. Roger that. Surprised?
Somewhat. No, I'll admit it. I'm surprised. Now I better understand why he said I can't do anything for him. And Kate, how long do you plan on following us?
I'm sorry.
Did you know of this?
Yes, I knew, but there's nothing I can do. If I went up there now, Carl would just tell me to leave. I know this is shameful, Ensiotis, but I want you to help my brother.
He's already refused my help.
If you're really only after the ransom, I wouldn't have risked myself to come here, so I don't want you to misunderstand him. But you've always been ever so reliable, and there's no one else I can turn to, so please.
I'll do what I can.
As you said, I was in fact the one to bring up the kidnapping plan, and ever since my kidnapping, I've been living with my brother and the other infected. While I dare not say that I completely understand their plight, I have at least some idea of what they're going through. Back then, he plunged a chunk of Virginium into his arm, right in front of me and our parents, before rushing out of the house. It took 2 years to find him again in the slums, completely by chance. His impetuous temper from before had turned violent, as you've seen, but to me, the biggest change in him was that, even though he's alive, he doesn't seem to be living. Sorry, I'm not sure how exactly to describe it. He's gotten himself battered and bruised so many times for the sake of his friends, but he doesn't seem to care. As you saw just now, he'll grovel and denigrate himself without a second thought as long as it's for the sake of others. The only person he doesn't care about is himself. It's the same with the kidnapping, really. He's never cared about the ransom. He wants to give up his life for something. Yes.
Kate?
Oh no, Carl.
And Siotis too, and even Hood? You saw everything? Did you bring them here, Kate?
No, I swear.
We followed you. Lord these days, how easily they admit to telling people, ha! Carl, I already told you there's nothing you can do for me. So just stay up there in your ivory tower. You shouldn't feel even a pang of conscience over a pathetic existence like mine. It's better this way, for you and me both. Let's go, Kate.
I'm sorry, Siotis.
Doctor, I brought what you asked for.
Thanks. So what do you think?
Oh, were you asking me?
That's right, you.
Well, I've been basically watching over you in secret this whole time, so I more or less saw the whole thing. And I do have an opinion on it, since you asked. Maybe you can tell me if I'm right. The ransom is only part of what this Carl guy is after. He does want it, but not for himself. It's for the other infected who've gathered at his side. Meanwhile, he doesn't really care what happens to himself. He used to be nobility, a young lord, but after infecting himself, he's lived in the city as a beggar for years. Falling from such a great height has only highlighted the oppression of the infected for him. Because before all that, he may as well have been one of the oppressors. From another perspective, the death of his loved one made him choose the most irrational, impulsive method of exacting revenge on his father. And the consequences of that not only banished him to the streets, but also drove his father to ratchet up the oppression. That has always been a source of the contradiction in his heart. So I think what he really wants comes after he gets the ransom. As for his specific plans, well, the lives of normal people mean little to him, let alone the lives of our infected. So I'm guessing neither murder nor suicide. Either murder or suicide. Let's go. Doctor, there's the direction of Carl's camp.
I know where I'm going.
That being the case, I suppose this is where we part ways for now. There's one thing I'd like to apologize to you for. I should have stayed out of this after I took on the role of an intermediary and passed on the commission onto Rhodes Island, but it would appear that the situation has changed. I'll admit, even when you got involved in Kjerag, I didn't feel as restricted as I do now. You're reminding me to answer a question that I've been avoiding for over a year. I must ask you once more just how important is this question for you, Doctor?
For me, personally, very. I choose my partners carefully. For me, personally, very, so very.
In that case, I'm afraid I have no choice but to produce my answer.
Rhodes Island will pull the way it's always done things.
Just as I have my own methods.
I just have one more question. Siotis, what will you use to bargain for his life? Three days later.
To be honest, Doctor, even now I find it hard to believe that you're the one from Rhodes Island who saved all those infected. I always thought you were just a legend. What I find even harder to believe, though, is that you came here with Siotis.
Life works in mysterious ways. We just happen to be acquainted. Life works in mysterious ways.
Haha, true, it really does. Setting everything else aside, though, I'm willing to place my trust in you, Doctor. So if something happens to me, I'd like you to take care of Kate and my brothers. Siotis, what are you doing here? Did you really think that Viscount Walden would risk coming out to this barren wasteland to cut a deal in person? What the? The Viscount has authorized me to serve as his agent in this transaction. This is his flesh and blood daughter we're talking about. How dare he? You're the one who kidnapped his daughter. What right do you have to judge his decisions? Good, great, this is just perfect. If that's what you want, fine, someone bring out the hostage.
Carl.
The money for the girl. Have your people put the box in the middle, and then we'll release the girl. No objections. Go, Kate. Go back to where you belong.
Carl. Sobs.
It seems the exchange was successful. We've got the box, boss. If everything's there, then hurry up and run. Huh? Do you seriously think the Viscount would let us go? Isn't that right, Siotis? Shh. Run, brothers, hurry! What do we do, Doctor?
Attacking one of the Viscount's guards would spell serious trouble, but we're just going to stand by and watch. Ensure their safety, but we don't have to attack them.
I thought you let them run a bit further ahead of time. I need to make sure they got their money, plus, with their skills, if I let them run away first, you just hold them up to threaten me. Make sure that they got their money. In other words, you never plan on leaving here alive, correct? Alive? What does that mean to be alive, Antiochus? Does having a heartbeat count as being alive? Or is being alive watching your loved one's body get dragged away like an old rag? Or watching other people die in front of your eyes because they can't get medicine? I don't know how to be alive anymore. All I know is I want to die. It was supposed to be me and the old man dying here today. I would have told him that his son still lives. I would have killed him, and then myself. That's all I wanted. My one and only desire. So why don't you just talk about the embers of even that last little bit of desire? You rejected my help, so I can only resolve this using my own methods. Haha, that's right. That's exactly the kind of person you are. Also, I can assure you of at least one thing. The Viscount already knows. The look of horror in his face when he heard that his son was still alive was positively brilliant. Hoping I'll die slightly more at peace. Indeed, that was my intent. Then I've changed my mind, Antiochus. I'll kill you, then I'll kill the old man. And what about after that? We'll see when we get there. Die for me. No.
Feeling better now, Carl?
You've woken up. Why? Why didn't you kill me? Out of pity? Carl, when you said that there was nothing I could do for you, what you really meant was that I don't understand the plight of the infected. And I must admit that that is true. As I was returning to the Viscount, the doctor asked me a question. What would I use to bargain for your life? I thought about it for a long time. I didn't want to answer with words like revenge, hope, or the future. Finally, I reached my conclusion. I will use the lives of all of your friends to save yours. What? As of now, all of them in the city have already died, including you. Next, they will move to one of my branch offices in the neighboring city and begin a new life there. The same goes for you, of course. If you have any objections, I will respect your wishes. They aren't dead? The people chasing them are my men. Ha, ha ha, you bastard! How arrogant you get! I won't deny it. You don't need to worry about the Viscount. The only problem is your sister. I'm very sorry, but you two will have to be separated. I wouldn't have gone to see her even without your arrangement. She's better off forgetting about this good-for-nothing brother of hers. But give me some time to think it over. You've all the time in the world. Doctor.
We make a pretty good duo, huh? You should be thanking me. You should be thanking me, just kidding. We make a pretty good duo, huh?
Flawless. This commission was originally my way of apologizing to you, but as it turns out, now I owe you an even bigger favor. Also, I failed to help you establish a connection to Viscount Walden. Truly, a series of uncharacteristic gaffes on my part. Regardless, this incident has provided me with a novel perspective on certain matters. Give me some time, Doctor, and I will pay you back in a way that satisfies you.
AKA letting us summon and seal this altar, right? Silver Ash altar. Now that's gonna be the way to satisfy. I wish.
I finished reading the report. In terms of outcomes, this is a resounding failure. Not only did we fail to establish a relationship with Viscount Walden, we might even be blacklisted by him now. Therefore, we no longer have the option of using his network to find a stopover point for Rhodes Island.
Sorry, I don't regret it. You know you did the same thing. Sorry.
I wasn't finished. From the standpoint of Rhodes Island, you made the correct choice. Besides, we didn't walk away from this commission empty-handed. Although I cannot predict what effects this will bring about down the road. While speaking, Kelsey pulls out a document from the archive's sky-high pile of papers and hands it over. It looks to be a temporary operator cooperation request. The operator in question calls himself Silver Ash and Siotis. How is this possible? He's gonna work for us, community service! Now we need Silver Ash altar. This arrived just yesterday.
You can imagine the HR department's confusion when he requested to join Rhodes Island as an operator. In the end, I was forced to handle the situation in person, and to cut straight to the result, he accepted all the conditions I laid out for him and passed the operator exam with flying colors. No wonder everyone on the way looked so bewildered. He's waiting for you in the reception room right now. You should give him a tour of Rhodes Island while you're there. Can do. What's the meaning of this? This your way of playing me back? Silver Ash?
Using my clan name as my code name, it's easy to remember, no? Carl accepted my offer. Rest assured, no one will know where he or his friends ended up. Speaking of which, the new monitoring bracelet you gave me is much better than the previous one. I'm interested in purchasing a batch myself. Perhaps we can sit down to discuss it.
Why would you become an operator? I thought I misread when Kelsey showed me. Why would you become an operator?
Are you asking why I signed that lopsided contract Madame Kelsey drafted? That is simply the price I'm willing to pay to become a member of Rhodes Island.
You know that's not what I'm talking about. Why? Rhodes Island isn't a good fit for you. Why?
Surely someone as smart as you would be able to guess the reason.
Get to the point. What are you trying to do?
I want to be your friend.
Aw, that's cute. Does the presidents of Carlin Trade lack friends? I thought we were already friends! I thought we were already friends, my dude.
I trust you've already reached a tacit understanding to some degree. But understanding between individuals is always asymmetric, which is why I do not trust tacit understandings, Doctor. The best way to know what someone else is thinking will always be to ask them directly, no?
There are plenty of others who could do it. A lot of people understand you. There are plenty of others who could do it.
Such as?
Enya.
And he is doing superbly right now. Better than I could have imagined. We did reach a mutual understanding in a sense, but that is precisely the reason we were able to clearly see each other's choices. All I can say is that she would be a very suitable partner, but not a friend.
Encia.
I realize that Encia is no longer a child. She has keen insight into a variety of matters. I will give her everything she wants and respect her opinions. But there are far more things I cannot tell her than things I can.
Gnosis.
Gnosis seems to have already made quite a name for himself in your lab. Thanks to his talent and personality, he may be knowledgeable about many things, but that is a product of the years we spent together. He is not someone I can share anything with, and he understands that better than I do.
Dagenbreaker.
Dagenbreaker and I are on sublime terms, but it is true that she has great insight in many areas. The thing is, she doesn't care. She deliberately keeps herself uninvolved in most affairs. From her perspective, much of what I do is merely inviting trouble for myself. And I can't deny that.
Matterhorn and Courier.
Matterhorn and Vice, I trust them implicitly, and feel comfortable handing them many responsibilities. While I won't say that our relationship as superior and subordinate creates a distance between us, realistically speaking, we'll always have a hard time reaching a mutual understanding as the giver and recipient of trust. So as you can see, I can share bits and pieces of myself with each of the people you mentioned. But for various reasons, I cannot share everything with them, just as they cannot share everything with me.
You've drawn too many lines, because they all have ties to Kjerag.
Correct. At the core of my enterprise is the land of Kjerag, to the point that all the people I find around me are intimately connected to the land itself. Most of the time, this isn't a bad thing. However, I realize that I'm lacking an objective viewpoint, who can criticize or discuss matters concerning myself. Enya and Encia were still very young when our parents suddenly passed away. The family's heavy responsibilities fell completely onto my shoulders. For both my sisters and the clan, I could only grit my teeth and pick up the mantle as a Silver Ash. After a few years of this, I realized that nothing would ever change from simply remaining the head of the clan in Kjerag. So I left to study in Victoria, following my father's footsteps. What happened during my time abroad would make a fascinating topic for another time, should you be interested. But judging from the results, I made the correct decision. If I hadn't left, I would never have understood what Kjerag needed, nor what challenges it would face. A few years later, I voluntarily ended my studies and returned with my capital and connections to form Carlin Trade. I'll admit the whole process was originally meant to take much longer. While abroad, most of my time was dedicated to studying and networking, though it was not as if I didn't have moments of leisure as well. Unfortunately, though, the alarm bells ringing in my heart pushed me to make my decision early. What comes after is a history of Carlin Trade's development. I cannot claim full credit for our achievements, but I've indeed put everything I have into it, and to the land.
I know, it hasn't been easy for you. You want someone to talk to?
Correct. People like us would never say that hard work alone makes efforts worth acknowledging. Nobody uses it as an excuse. Quite the contrary, I want to share what I've experienced in my life with someone worthy of my recognition.
But what does this have to do with you joining Rhodes Island?
I originally thought that our cooperation would remain on a business level, but you seem to insist that your business is inseparably connected to all of us. And you managed to convince me. Kjerag has experienced hardly any catastrophes in the past, and as such, the people of Kjerag have little innate prejudice against the infected. That said, the role they play in society, what they've experienced, what they will experience, I must admit I'd failed to adequately consider these things. When I issued articles of incorporation modeled after Victoria's statutes, all I had in mind were some commonplace management tricks.
That's already more than enough. I'm not trying to force you.
But if we were to become friends, you would have that privilege. I need to gain a deeper understanding of the infected and of Rhodes Island's business. You've helped me realize this. You helped me realize that this isn't important just for Carlin Trade, but for the way I view this world. And after getting to know you, the simplest way to achieve this seems to be to work with you in Rhodes Island, which is why I became Silver Ash. Or to put more simply, friends need to see each other every once in a while, don't they?
Ah.
I've grown accustomed to dealing with others as a transaction, where one party provides something of value, and the other reciprocates with equal value, neither side owing anything to the other.
Yeah, he's definitely faithful to Kjerag in his own way. See, he wants to just help the people. He wants to help them in ways that he thinks, like, for modernizing. But yeah, he's going about it kind of weirdly with the others.
But friendship, family, and love cannot be a sign of value. As such, I must choose my partners carefully.
I'd love to hear about your time abroad. Do I have the option to refuse? You're a terrible judge of character. The difference. I'd love to hear about your time abroad.
I'll be staying here for a few days, so we'll have plenty of time for that. Perhaps you'll be able to glean some of the secrets of the Victorian nobility from the vignettes I've shared with you. Alright, Doctor. You're still responsible for showing me around the landship. We can talk more along the way.
No objections. Okay, sigh. Okay.
One more thing. I'll admit that doing things this way may have come as a surprise, perhaps even caused you some trouble. But the next time you see me, you should be glad. After all, nobody is better suited to solve your problems than me, isn't that right?
Which is why you're put to use so much on the team. It's fun using Silver Ash. Snow Realm File Care Kit. When it awoke, it found itself lying in a warm room. Did I do Polluting Light's letter? I'm not sure. When it awoke, it found itself lying in a warm room. The unfamiliar environment frightened it, and it wanted to leave, but it was in so much pain that it could not move. The door opened, and through it strode a feline boy with silver hair and thick tail. He approached it with liniment and gauze in hand. Applying the medicine... Okay, that was a comic. I thought that was an event at first. I don't remember the names of the comics. The door opened, and through it strode a feline boy with silver hair and a thick tail. He approached it with liniment and gauze in hand. Applying the medicine in the bottle to the wound before bandaging it up. Wait, it's an event? So that wasn't the comic? So probably... Which event was that? It struggled a little at first, but was too weak to do anything but accept the boy's treatment before falling into a deep slumber. On that day, the boy took it back to where it had been found. Oh gosh, there's too many shorter events to remember the names of. I'm assuming yes in that case. They wandered through the woods for an entire day until the boy was exhausted and gasping for breath. but in the end found only the remains of 2 adult foul beasts. He built a small grave for them, and then turned to it and said, "Now, both of us are in the same boat." The boy took it back to his room, and the tiny nest inside became its new home. The archives and the short records? Like, most of them do that, right? If not, oop. The boy would come back on it every day. He liked to gently wipe its plumage while chatting with it, unconcerned with whatever it could understand him. With whether it could understand him. Like the one night, the boy approached it with a sullen face and said, "I'm confident I have what it takes to be a strong clan leader for a good brother, but I cannot guarantee I can do both at once." The boy sighed as he spoke. He contemplated for a long time before finally running off to return with a box that smelled nice. Inside was his sister's favorite dish. Like that one afternoon when the boy approached it with a tinge of melancholy in his voice. "I want to graciously wish Nosa success on his new journey, and I have selfishly hoped for him to stay." Perhaps because he had been bottling it in for so long, the boy spent the next half hour explaining to it the situation of the Edelweiss clan, the difficulties facing Gnosis, and his reluctance to part ways with his best friend. Aw. In the end, he sighed again and said, "Alas, you're the only one who can hear me out. I'd better think of a farewell gift for him now." And like that day, when its wounds healed, the boy took it out to the snowy plains to practice flying. When it was about to take off, he took out a black silk scarf, tied the fabric around its neck, and asked, "Will you come with me?" At that moment, the boy had already decided to set aside the burdens of being a clan leader and depart from the snow realm to study abroad. It simply crooked its head and looked at him. Of course, it did not know what the boy was worried about, why he was anxious, or why he was sad. Or perhaps it sensed that the boy, just like him, did not wish to stay confined in a warm room. He wished to soar beneath the blue sky. It spread its wings and leapt forward. Then, to the boy's happy, surprised shouts, it took off with the wind. On that day, it learned to fly once again. Goodbye, Burb. And I'll go for records. Let's see how this goes for at least starting. Basic info, codename. Her codename is difficult. It's like Ask Jannie. Something like that. Gender female. Combat experience none. I love that. None. Place of birth Colombia. Date of birth July 10. Race, Liberia. Height 166 centimeters. Infection status confirmed infected by medical examination. Physical exam, physical strength normal, mobility standard, physical resilience standard, tactical acumen standard, combat skill standard, Originium art assimilation standard. Profile, Ryan Lab Energy Section, Director Dr. Elena Urbica. While aboard Rhodes Island, she will use her original name as her codename. While she is more than capable of keeping her enemies at bay with her handmade staff and unique Originium arts, rather than fighting on the front lines, she prefers to provide support from the rear by working on research and machinery maintenance. Clinical analysis. Imaging tests show the indistinct outlines of internal organs, obscured by abnormal shadows, Originium granules detected in the circulatory system. The subject is confirmed to be infected with uropathy. Cell Originium assimilation, 4%. Signs of infection are present in Ashina's lower right leg, near ankle. Let's see how long her file takes first. Because it might be fine to go through her module. Because it might not be a super long module. Blood Originium crystal density 0.2. Only minor infection, no visible surface crystallization detected. This operator's medical files have been granted heightened confidentiality as requested, and are filed together with operator Astasia's files. Staff members should take extra care when modifying these files. Anonymous high clearance medical operator. Archive File 1. This isn't Ashina's first time aboard Rhodes Island. She contracted neuropathy when she was caught in an accident during one of Ryan Lab's experiments. She then came to Rose Island with her sister, and they became operators together. After a period of rest, it was found that she was in stable condition, so she went back to work at Ryan Lab's energy section. On the surface, Ashena was the one who requested to be sent to Rose Island again, but it seems to have been related to another accident at Ryan Lab, as well as a staff change at the energy section. She won't be returning to Ryan Lab for some time, and will instead be working and living aboard Rose Island with PhDs in both electrical engineering and engineering. She had already worked with the Rose Island workshop and our logistics operators during her last stint, so it took her hardly any time to readjust to life here. From this, it's obvious that HR's concerns about her mental state are completely unnecessary. I know she's run into a bit of trouble at Ryan lately, but she dropped by to say hello the moment she came back, and the next day she brought the designs for a bunch of custom lab equipment she wants to order. She's got a big project from the looks of it. Heh, with that kind of momentum, give her half a day, and she'll have finished what would take me an entire year. I bet my hammer on that. Anonymous Elite Artificer. Archive File 2. The Urbicas descend from a long line of Gaulish astrologers who emigrated to the Colombian South after being ostracized by the Orthodox astrologers there, and thus unwittingly escaped the destruction of Gaul. They are now an enormous family that possesses significant social prestige, and the sisters Astasia and Ashene are among the family's new generation. Their parents had an arranged marriage, but nonetheless loved each other deeply. And it wasn't long after their marriage before their mother became pregnant. Their father then used his astrological research to predict their future, and found that they might only have a single child in his lifetime. As such, he picked a grandiloquent name for their only daughter, Astasia, which is why he was completely blindsided when, on a day when his wife gave birth, they ended up with 2 baby girls. Regardless, he was overjoyed and named his unexpected younger daughter Ashene in the hope that, just like the stars, they would come to be the genesis of the family's good fortune. Ashene had been fond of learning from a young age, although she does not possess her sister's ability to intuit and learn by interference. She made up for it with hard work and diligence. Because of this, even during their childhood, her Originium arts were far more radiant than her sisters, and her mastery of astrological lore flabbergasted even their father. In his words, she could have become a pillar of the family's bright future alongside her sister. But she didn't. Ashene first started to change because of a broken astrolabe. She came upon her parents, 2 experienced astrologers, throwing out an astrolabe that could still be repaired in favor of buying a new one. That was when she discovered how impractical the knowledge she had been studying truly was. She couldn't tell her parents, "We can still use this if we get it fixed." So instead, she brought it back to her room, poured over a few instruction manuals and assembly guides, and took it apart, talked to the craftsman who made it, and finally repaired it after tinkering with it for a few months. She then showed the globe to her sister, who happily took it, praised her handiwork, and shared candy with her. But when she showed it to her parents, she was met with only cold, harsh responses. "Why'd you waste your time on this hunk of junk?" Wow. Wow, to your parents. Instead of being proud like, "Oh my goodness, look at you, daughter. Look at how handy you are." Like, wow. Ashene, I want you to spend your time on things that matter. Bruh, that does matter. She quietly went back to her room and looked at the rows and rows of astrological literature on her shelf. Then she looked out the window at the endless nomadic city plates, and that was when she finally realized it didn't matter how well she knew the star periods, or how confidently she could tell those around her about their distant, impractical changes. This field of study does not benefit the lands whatsoever. If she continued to study her family's pointless chicanery, she would simply become a stargazing con artist who couldn't even lift her own equipment. Who couldn't even fix her own equipment. What she really wanted to master was a thing that could truly make the world a better place. What her father saw as useless trash: science. From that day forward, Ashina lost interest in the astrology lessons from her parents and teachers. Instead, she shifted her focus to her classes at school. She tried to use her good grades to prove that she made the right choice, but her parents' disdain toward this only made her more stubborn. Considering her temperament, if it weren't for Astasia calming her down, She probably would have immediately left home without a second thought. In the end, after she received an acceptance letter from a university and made sure that she had enough savings and a stable source of income, she moved out for good, never to return to the home that had tormented her for so long. To prepare herself for a new life, she also gave herself a new name when she enrolled into college. Elena. She didn't want to be an illusory, insignificant star. She wanted to become a shining light. Archive File 3. As the land's leading tech company, Ryan Lab's hiring standards are stringent enough to discourage most would-be applicants. Even Elena, with her double degrees, wouldn't be worth mentioning in that corporation full of people with master's degrees and PhDs doing odd jobs. Fortunately, or at least, some would say so, she had a good teacher. Even in college, she had already been participating in Ryan Lab Energy Section Director Ferdinand's experiments. Seizing this opportunity, Elena worked and studied under the industry groundbreaker for years, at last becoming his proud protege. It goes without saying how painstakingly and laborious this process was. Ferdinand had several dozen researchers working under him, and the students he taught as a guest lecturer likely numbered in the thousands. Naturally, Ferdinand took notice of Elena due to her academic accomplishments. But what really made him take a liking to her was her decisiveness and quick response under extreme circumstances. Oh, Ferdinand. A few years prior, a disastrous liquid orginium leak occurred in the energy section's laboratories. At this time, the main energy section members were working away from Ryan HQ, and the defense section dealt with the incident according to their contingency plan. However, the leak affected other departments, and there were multiple experiments that, once shut down, had to have their materials disposed of lest they become an even more dangerous problem, which greatly slowed the rescue process. If it weren't for Lena, who was merely an intern at the time, taking on the responsibility to explain to Defense Director Saria the situation at the accident site, and even leading the rescue, Ferdinand would likely have had an even greater mess on his hands. Of course, thinking only of saving others, Elena headed into the high-risk environment without a full set of safety equipment, and this left her infected with neuropathy. As for his sister, Astasia, Elena brought her into a safe house when the accident occurred, but after they made physical contact, Astasia began to show signs of developing neuropathy. They were then transported to Rhodes Island for treatment together. We have yet to understand the specific causes of developing neuropathy. It's only in recent years that we've even identified cases of this exceedingly rare form of infection. We've managed to narrow down a few commonalities though. The patients are all the identical twins of an already infected patient, and whom they learned and used the same kind of originium arts since childhood. They also all shared a close emotional bond and experienced a strong emotional fluctuation when they came into physical contact with their newly infected twin, and speculatively, time and space may also play a factor, as in all cases of the patients had physical contact with their twins within hours of their infection. So far, they have not found any cases where this occurred after more time had passed, or where a patient suddenly became infected from afar. How many cases have there been? Just one in the landship, and 2 reported from our branches across the lands. Oh my goodness, being a twin must be a pain. That's way too few. Even trying to speculate based on that sample size may be overzealous. This sort of infection is rare to begin with. We can only work with the data we have. I know you're in a hurry to get results and to give the people suffering out there a treatment plan, but please, you're not usually this reckless. Look, we have plenty of cases where an infected infects others with originium arts because of their emotional outbursts, and we also have cases of patients become infected after prolonged exposure to their family members. So wait, what would the planning be though? Because I can look at my base on my phone while still being in the game. Well, that just lends credence. It means that every single guess of yours can be accounted for by other special cases. Neuropathy is not a normal disease. The kind of logic that works with other diseases doesn't apply here. I won't give up. Of course he won't, but before that, I want you to come up with a treatment plan for these patients. All done. 3 files on your desk, all ready to go. Thanks, good work. Anything else? I'm just thinking that if science and logic can't explain these patients' neuropathy, then maybe it's time for a different approach. What do you mean? I heard the Rose Island case comes from a family of astrologers. Maybe common knowledge won't work here. Maybe we need to appeal to the supernatural. Their father once predicted that he would only have one daughter, but what if his prophecy wasn't wrong? He's making wild guesses, but if you're so sure about this, do as you please. Select excerpts from a meeting between high clearance medic operators, medical department meeting room. Oh yeah, I had them in my control center. Let me get that real quick. Because I put the others in there. I'm just glad that my trusted bro is already good. For the others, let's see how they're doing. The activity room is the one where they just train people, right? I'm pretty sure. And if that wasn't the activity room, oop. Okay, loading in. Oh, not the training room, something else? Oh, I see the activity room, never mind. I scrolled to the side. The one where they're just chilling. Alrighty, I can put them in there real quick. Mumu, you get to go in one activity room. And then... Dorothy, where are you at this point? Get in there, girl. For that room, I have the one who I have like least trust with, so Mumu. So Mumu's currently at 59%. Dorothy's at 156. Since I'm pretty sure the one at the top is the one who gets the most spawn, right? Like, this is how they look. Now for Archiphile 4, Elena used to think of her mentor, Ferdinand, as a strict teacher who nonetheless respected people's autonomy. Ooh, I gotta raise their skill, or raise them a little bit then, so they don't die during the event. However, during the Site 359 incident, she began to see her parents in him. A disgusting control freak who uses his position to harass others. Yes, that's what he is. Once, she'd done everything she could to escape from people like that, and now, after drifting about for over a decade, she found herself in the same hole as before, which is why, at that very moment, she decided to cut ties with her boss, mentor, and later requested a transfer to Rose Island. Back to where her sister was. Only here could she calm down and think about her future. She's very lost right now. Her research had all come to nothing thanks to Ferdinand's sudden disappearance, and the changes happening to the energy section. Her 10 years of hard work have become frozen with no hopes of restarting anytime soon. She must feel like an Originium slug breeder, who opened the door one day to find all the slugs missing. She may remember all the technical details, but even if it's replicable, Rose Island simply does not have the resources she would need. Besides, she's an operator now. She has new responsibilities and missions, and so much more to do. Oh, maintenance is over? Perfect. I'll update my app after this. And I want to eat a snack, my tummy's rumbling. But from another perspective, Elena also feels that life isn't as painful as it used to be. Her new life, new encounters, and the diverse array of personnel aboard Rhodes Island will support her in her many significant but productive research projects. Oh, notes of diary, sad. Did they at least add in the new background? Rhodes Island's administrator also seems very efficient and professional. This time, she's made sure that this doctor is trustworthy. This time! And most importantly, she gets to live right by her sister in the dorms now. She's finally home. I hope they added in the new background. I want to use it. Okay, if moral support is just good enough for trust, that's good then. Promotion record. As everyone knows, Ashena is quite critical of her family's astrological traditions. Sometimes she can be so critical that she gets flicked in the forehead by her sister. Wait, not yet. Aw, when are they gonna add it? Yet there is one thing she has to admit. The training she received as a child did benefit her a little. The Urbica twins or Genimarts may originate from the same source, but nonetheless unfold quite differently. Astasia's arts emphasize complexity, while Jena's art focus on simplicity. Sometimes, all she has to do is wave her staff a little, and the silk-like energy beams can lift your spirits for an entire day. That sounds great. With such a flashy baseline, naturally they can also paralyze wrongdoers. Maybe in the morning, I hope so. I want to use it already. What's less obvious is that, as long as she adjusts the parameters correctly, even the seemingly harmless energy beams can immediately become intensely focused, enough to send a stalwart Forte to the hospital for half a month. Scary. As Shannon loves hanging out at the workshop, she may not be a professional artificer, but as someone who often makes use of their services, her professionalism is beyond doubt. Sometimes, she also uses the workshop to tinker with her own things. If she's not fixing her own staff, she's usually adjusting her sister's astrolabe. That's good of her, she can fix her sister's stuff. I appreciate that. I don't buy the LMD ones. I go for... of course, gotcha funds, ahahaha. In the past, she used to do this for her in exchange for pocket money, but now it is a symbol of their close relationship. They may walk different paths, but the sisters continue to encourage independence in each other. Without Astasia's prudence and thoroughness, Ashene can be reckless, but without Ashene's decisiveness and perseverance, Astasia can be quite indecisive too. They are different and they depend on each other. Perhaps that's the best way to sum up these twins' relationship. Cute! I like that. So far so wholesome. But for tonight, my favorite is Harold. Harold wins. Harold 1000% wins. Oh, Harold. I just love how he broke out into a musical and also dance sequence. Harold's charisma's off the charts. But yeah, for Thursday, for me, I can start like an hour early. Finish off Taking Breakers, module, or not module, her record, and then Ashena's record and module. And then to start the event. Oh, it's gonna be fun starting the event. Hopefully the gacha gods will be kind. Silver Ash altar, please. That's my goal. Like Pramanex's altar will be fun too, but Silver Ash, hello boy. Just for the funsies. Like, come on, Silver Ash, you say we're friends, and this is what friends do. Humph, 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 humph. And then I think I'll add in another for Friday as well. So then that would be easier to farm. I want to unlock a good stage for farming. So with that being said, thank you for stopping by the stream. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Epic gacha luck. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. I want a snack. I gotta update my app. I gotta get a snack. I'm debating what I want to eat. I don't know if anyone cooked anything, so maybe... I don't know. What is there? If there's bread, maybe peanut butter sandwich? Yum, yum, yum.